Welcome back to Katana TCG. In this week's video, we're going to look at some brand new product from TPCI, and then I'm going to show you some lists on how to apply these promo cards that are coming exclusively in these packages. When it's time to flex on your opponents in Top Cut this season, or even just upgrade your TCG accessories, make sure you're checking out inkgaming.com. They have a wide variety of custom playmats, custom dice bags, face masks, as well as mouse pads too, and a grip of sleeves and dice and deck boxes, all your TCG accessory needs. And you can use the code DADSPOD10 at checkout for 10% off your entire order from inkgaming.com. Your game, your style. So here's a look at the Deoxys VMAX and VSTAR battle box. It comes with one copy of the Deoxys V, VSTAR, and the VMAX, plus 4 packs of Pokemon cards. It's an okay value for about $30. I think that's what an MSRP is for. If you love collecting the plastic VSTAR markers, then absolutely go ahead and hunt these down at your local Walmarts, Targets, and local card stores and so on and so forth. It might be a little cheaper to build decks out of these cards if you just go through TCG Player. But nonetheless, let's go ahead and dive into the lists and see how we can apply them into the standard format. So what does Deoxys do? Deoxys has 210 HP for 1 Psychic and 1 Colorless. It does Psychic for 30 plus damage. This attack does 30 more damage for each energy stacked on your opponent's active Pokemon. Not a super good attack. And then for 2 Psychic and 1 Colorless, it does Power Edge for 140, which is slightly better than the attack called Power Edge on Arceus V. It's weak to Dark. It is resistant to fighting, and we're really not going to attack with this a whole bunch, but you gotta talk about it. The Deoxys VSTAR has 270 HP for 2 Psychic and 1 Colorless. You do Psy Javelin for 190 damage and do 60 snipe damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. V, this is nice for softening up VMAX or getting other VSTARs within 1-hit knockout range of Psy Javelin plus Choice Belt. The VSTAR power is kind of cool. For 1 Psychic, it does Star Force for 60 times damage, and this attack does 60 damage for each energy attached to both active Pokemon. If you're playing against something like Goodra, playing against something like Arceus VSTAR or Akira, if you have 4 energy on you and they have anywhere between 3 to 4 energy stacked on them, you are taking massive 1-hit knockouts. Realistically for 1 energy, but obviously you want to have a bunch of energy stacked on you as well, so it's kind of useful in those specific instances. Deoxys VMAX is 330 HP. This thing is an absolute tank. Its ability Protective DNA allows you to take 30 less damage from your opponent's Pokemon VSTAR's attacks, which is huge. Unfortunately, it does get shut down by Path to the Peak. However, being able to take 30 less damage from VSTAR Pokemon in a format like this that is very saturated with VSTAR Pokemon is tremendous. And then for 1 Psychic and 2 Colorless, it does Max Drain for 160 damage, which isn't a lot, and it heals itself 30 damage. Weak to Dark, resistant to fighting at a 3 retreat cost, which I'm not particularly keen on, but I understand if you have 330 HP and a little bit less retreat cost than that, it's going to be kind of broken. Now, how do we apply these cards into the standard format? Well, immediately I was thinking Arceus and Deoxys featuring Deoxys VMAX would be kind of cool. Using things like Radiant Gardevoir to take 20 less damage from your opponent's Pokemon V. Plus, like Acuity, when you have water energy attached, you take 20 less damage from your opponent's Pokemon's attacks is already pretty sick. Now, with that 40 damage resistance between those two, plus taking an additional 30 less from VSTAR attacks means you're taking a whopping 70 less damage from your opponent's Pokemon VSTAR as long as you have water energy attached. This makes things like Giratina's Lost Impact attack seem way less severe, as it's only hitting for 210 damage, and we're using things like Sharon's Care to be able to pick up the Arceus and then just kind of rotate them through the same way that you would play Arceus and Teleon in the first place. We're also featuring things like Big Parasol so that the Giratina's VSTAR attack doesn't absolutely delete us, and if you have this on your active Pokemon, you shut off Sableye and stuff like that too. So really cool list, really cool deck. I think Deoxys also makes a great secondary attacker. This is why we're running the Psychic Energy. Realistically, it works better because it can utilize the Double Turbo Energy to satisfy an attack if we need to. But in any capacity, it's really just going to be a bench sitter that helps us take 30 less damage from our opponent's Pokemon VSTAR. Every time a new Psychic attacker comes out that seems worthwhile, you gotta partner it with Rider Calyrex. It accelerates Psychic Energy to bench Psychic Pokemon and allows you to draw cards. There just seems like there isn't a better ability than that. Max Geist is also a pretty worthwhile attack too, dealing 30 more damage for each Psychic Energy attached to all of your Pokemon, plus 10. And being able to set up the Psy Javelin attack on the Deoxys VSTAR realistically in one turn if you have multiple Shadow Riders set up is pretty sick. Dealing 190, softens something up for 60 on the bench, makes it really easy for max guys to come through and really clean up the board, and the Star Force ability has never been more powerful in a deck like this because you can stack a bunch of energy onto Deoxys and then hit for 60 times whatever you put on there to take huge one-hit knockouts regardless of how much energy is on your opponent's Pokemon. It's pretty sick. We do feature something like Skater Spark to be able to retreat, put the energy that we're using to retreat into our hand, and then continue to draw with Shadow Rider, which is pretty cool. And last but not least, I think this might be my favorite way to apply Deoxys is with the Lost Zone engine, using Comfy and Chorus to be able to throw a bunch of cards into the Lost Zone, spread a little bit of damage with Deoxys VSTAR, and then clean up with Sableye and its Lost Mine attack. When you have 10 cards or more in the Lost Zone, you can put 12 damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon any way you like. We use things like Fog Crystal to grab the psychic energy, but it can also grab our best psychic attacker, in my opinion, in the form of Sableye. We have run 2 ordinary rods to be able to cycle them back in as we see fit, but spreading damage with Deoxys and Sableye just seems like a really good combination. And because we run water energy, you can realistically attack with Lumineon and Radiant Greninja. Thanks for sticking around and listening to all things Deoxys. I really do think that this card adds an extra dimensional layer to our already very diverse standard format. If you enjoy my content, make sure you like the video, comment, and subscribe to my channel. It really does mean a lot. Deuces.